Yo, what's going on, guys? Christy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Christy. For today's video, we got a video by Kane Loves Cali. Link to his channel in the description below. It is titled 6 NBA Players That Must Fix Their Weakness Next Season. So I'm actually very intrigued by this video because on the thumbnail of it, it was actually a picture of Kawhi Leonard. And I cannot for the life of me think about what Kawhi's weakness would be outside of like social awkwardness. But that doesn't really affect him on the court whatsoever. So I'm gonna check out this video, man, and see what these weaknesses are. I'm very intrigued by this.
Back, you guys, and NBA players are not perfect on the court. They have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. Those weaknesses might be what's separating them from being a borderline all-star to a legitimate star, or what's holding them back from being the clear-cut best player in the league. Now, some of these players might have one or two other weaknesses as well, but I want to focus in on one weakness that is holding them back, and if they overhaul it a bit, it will take their individual game and their team success to a new level. First on the list is Devin Booker, and while the Suns were a punching bag again for the Western Conference, Devin had a nice statistical season. He had a career high in points per game, assists, free throw attempts, and field goal percentage. But there was one thing that he took a massive hit on last year, and that was his three-point percentage.
Oh, wow.
Specifically, pull-up three-point shots.
It was like 33%.
Shooting threes last season, Devin shot 32% on 6.5 attempts per game, which was below the league average for three-point percentage. But
we do have to just kind of point out that, you know, like outside like I guess there's, you know, I'm not saying the Phoenix Suns have like the worst roster in the NBA because like Aiden's nice, Kelly Oubre was nice, players like that. But at the same time, it's like he didn't really have much help in the backcourt. I mean, he was taking these difficult shots, you know, just because the other team's defense was focused like solely on him. So there was like no really other guards to go out there helping, man. So, you know, I think that comes as the Phoenix Suns roster kind of gets better.
It's his worst season in three-point percentage of his career. We all know how important the pull-up three-point shot is. Curry, Lillard, Harden, Paul George, and other players have become elite players because of many things, but one of those things is the pull-up three-point shot. Basically, every perimeter player that's considered a top 10 or a top 15 player has that pull-up three-point shot. When the defense takes away the rim or is playing the screen tight, those guys can pull up on a dime and shoot the three. And when you start to make that shot at a respectable rate, it opens up other things like a pass to a shooter or a drive to the rim that can lead to free throws.
He'll figure it out. I believe in Devin Booker.
In the 2017-2018 season, Devin Booker made 72 out of 198 pull-up three-point shots, which put him at a respectable 36%. To put that in perspective, Victor Oladipo made 77 out of 216 pull-up three-point shots that season. That is a 36% mark.
Okay.
But in the 2019 season, that pull-up three-point shot failed Booker, and it was a weakness. Devin made 68 out of 234 pull-up three-point shots, which put him at a 29% clip.
For the video.
Not only did he make less of those type of shots, but he also took more than he did the year before. And that is what ruined his three-point percentage. He was good at making catch-and-shoot threes, but the pull-up three game he was attempting was not working. Now, was this season an outlier or something that will continue? In the 2 years before this, Booker shot 38% and 36% from three, which was above the league average.
Imagine him at like 27.
So he has shown that he can take and make three-point shots. Teams aren't going to leave him open. People respect his shot. But for the Phoenix Suns to be a respectable team, and for Devin Booker to take that next step in his offensive development, he needs to make that shot. The pull-up three-pointer was a weakness for him last year. He needs to get back to where he was at in 2018, or it's something that will hold his potential back. Karl Towns is the next player, and I would like to see him become a more impactful and talkative defender. He's a center that can dribble, shoot threes, rebound, and play in the post.
I was just about to say, you're the first dude I ever heard call Karl Towns. I never just heard me call Karl Towns before, man. Let's stick with the Karl Anthony Towns. Sounds so much better.
He's about as complete as an offensive player as you can be, and he'll probably finish top 15 in points when his career is over.
His defense got better, so don't mention defense.
But the other side of the floor is where we need to see some improvement. Now, he's not as bad on defense as he was in the 2017 season. He's improved a bit, but the Timberwolves were still one of the 7 worst defenses last year. What helped them out was the midseason trade for Robert Covington. Unless you're somebody like Robert Covington, perimeter players can't transform an entire defense like the center position can. Players like Rudy Gobert, Miles Turner, prime Marc Gasol, Roy Hibbert earlier in this decade, they were able to transform their team's defenses. As the back line of the defense, they can communicate with other players to call out plays, and they can alter shots at the rim. Karl's offense will always be there for him, but what can make Minnesota a tougher team to play against is him becoming an above-average defender. He's going to be in his 5th season, so I would like to see Karl help out Covington in impacting the team defense to an average level. Whether that is defending the rim better, getting better at guarding smaller players, or communicating on the floor when the offense is moving around, Cat can improve in all of those areas. DeAngelo Russell of the Golden State Warriors is the next player on here.
What is his?
D'Lo had a breakout year.
All-star
he went from getting benched in the 4th quarter earlier in the season to taking over the Nets offense when injuries happened and helping them get to the playoffs.
Especially playing the 2
He
now.
wasn't perfect though, and the Nets were around a 500 team. Out of the 24 players that averaged 21 points per game or more, DeAngelo Russell had the least amount of free throw attempts per game.
I did not know that.
He attempted just 2.5 per game last year. Now, skinny guards typically don't get to the free throw line as often as big.
Let's be honest, too. When it comes to free throws and how many you get, a lot of it comes down to respect. Because let's be honest, man, there is such thing as just like the superstar call. That is a thing. So I think as he gains more respect, and I think he will, especially on the Warriors now, too, he'll start shooting more free throws.
Bigger guards and forwards.
He'll start shooting more free throws.
Someone like Kyrie actively avoids contact to contort his body or flick up a tough layup,
well, he has injury
which is why his free throw rate is so low. Sometimes in situations where D'Lo could attack the rim, he likes to pull up for a short mid-range shot or take a floater. He doesn't have crazy bounce off of 1 or 2 feet when he jumps, so it's not like he can rise above or past a lot of centers. They'd block his shot or at least make it very tough for him to find an angle to score. Someone I mentioned earlier, Devin Booker, he became better at getting his point total up by drawing more fouls. Booker.
Notice all 3 of these players, though. All 3 of them are like extremely young. So as they get older and more mature and, and their NBA bodies continue to develop even more, I think a lot of this stuff will fix itself. It's just like they already did step 1, and that is live up to like great all-star, superstar potential at a young age. And I was like, all right, let's continue each season to build on our game until we reach our actual NBA prime.
He uses pump fakes to draw fouls and uses his body to get the contact needed to get the refs to call it. Now with Russell, it's weird because he is 6'5", so it's not like he's Chris Paul's height. He doesn't have the excuse of being short to say that's why I struggle at getting to the free throw line. When you are a main part of a team offense from the perimeter, getting to the free throw line is a big part of getting points and putting the defense in foul trouble. Pretty much every elite guard has had the ability to get to the free throw line, or there's someone like Kyrie or Steph who are using their finishing and three-point shooting to make up for it. If DeAngelo wants to take that next step from a one-time All-Star, he needs to become more clever at drawing fouls or taking contact to get to the line.
Too damn deep out there.
Elite players, even if they are getting some BS calls, they know how to draw fouls, and it gets you easy points. Besides Steph, no one on this Warriors team gets to the free throw line that often.
Bro, I see that. Title text here, man.
So D'Lo can try to help out there. The fourth player we got on here is Kawhi Leonard of the LA Clippers.
What the hell is this?
Now, this Clippers team is going to have a ton of strengths as a team. Their team defense will be great. They will be an effective three-point shooting team, and they will have multiple isolation scoring threats. But one thing that they don't have is a high-level passer, a guy that is great at making passes at tough angles, and a guy that knows how to make timely passes.
He was good last year for the Toronto Raptors, but I kid you not, like his season with the Spurs, he was averaging like 2 assists a game. So,
best passer on the team is probably Lou Williams, but he is looking to get in rhythm as a scorer and get to the free throw line first.
They don't really have like a
The Clippers aren't a selfish team, but being able to make passes quick and timely will be a weakness for them, and Kawhi won't be able to fix it. Kawhi was the Finals MVP, but he does have his limitations. He's an ISO-based scorer.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep on pausing, guys, but I just have to get this out there. I have a hunch. I have a feeling that at some point during this season, the Clippers are going to trade for Kyle Lowry. Because Kyle Lowry, not only does he have the chemistry with Kawhi, but he's literally exactly what this team needs at point guard. And I love Patrick Beverley. Like, I would still keep Patrick Beverley. I want to try to trade him away because he's good in certain situations. But that's my prediction, is that they're going to struggle early out with the playmaking and they're going to look for a point guard. And I think Kyle Lowry's the guy. And I think with some draft picks, maybe some of the young players, they could definitely acquire him. I always full screen the video every single time I click play. Every time, man.
He's thinking to score first.
Every time.
Kawhi is not a selfish player, but he's also not a setup guy that leads to a bucket. And that's okay. But within the context of this new Clippers team, it's going to be a weakness. In the playoff series against the 76ers, Kawhi had 28 assists to 23 turnovers, while Kyle Lowry had 42 assists to only 12 turnovers. This past year with the Raptors, you saw plenty of times Kawhi suffering from tunnel vision.
What would a
Sometimes
trade look
he'll
like to
take a
get
tough
Kyle Lowry?
contested shot that should have been a pass.
Zubac?
Sometimes he has trouble
Draft picks?
passing out of double teams. I mentioned timely passes when talking about the Clippers as a team. Kawhi definitely is not a great timely passer. He is sometimes late at seeing the passing angle. Sometimes he is thinking scoring first, and he made a dribble so he can't get the ball out quick enough. It really just comes down to his feel for passing. Some guys have it, some guys don't. Guys like Harden, LeBron, Steph, and even Durant can leverage their passing skills for easier shots for their teammates. Kawhi doesn't really do that outside of the basic stuff. That's the one big weakness in his game when you're comparing him to other superstars.
I agree with that.
It's weird because Kawhi
point.
should be a better passer. His hands are huge, so he should be able to whip the ball where he likes to, but he just doesn't have that feel. Kyle Lowry was able to cover up that weakness for him, but there won't be anybody to cover it up for him in LA. I don't want to overstate the weakness because the Clippers are going to be really good, but for Kawhi to create separation from other elite players and for him to help the Clippers offense, he needs to become a better passer. If Kawhi was a Kevin Durant level of passer, I'd be more comfortable with putting him as the best player in the league. The second to last player I have on here is Kawhi's former teammate, and that is Pascal Siakam.
Be a number one
Pascal
option.
took a massive leap in his development, went from scoring 6 points per game in the 2018 playoffs to being the number 2 or occasionally number 1 option on a 58-win team that made the finals. If Pascal stays where he is at as a player, that's fine. A 6'9" power forward that can run the floor, score on post-ups, and defend in space is valuable in every starting lineup. But now with Kawhi Leonard gone, there is a shot creation gap that needs to be filled in Toronto, and some of Pascal's weaknesses will be amplified. And that weakness is being a lead ball handler in the half court and in semi-transition. Kawhi took on the role of being the shot creator in the half court last season. Now without him there, the Raptors need somebody to step up. Nick Nurse should put Pascal in situations where he is the lead shot creator or lead ball handler. We've seen lead ball handlers that are rim attackers like Russell Westbrook, Ben Simmons, or Giannis. They can lead an offense by drawing in defenders and making a pass, getting to the free throw line, or finishing with 2 points. Russ can create offense with his dribbling speed. Giannis is almost 7 feet tall and can weave around or through the defense with his height or strength. Same with Ben Simmons. He's 6'10", can push the ball with his speed and strength to make a play that leads to points. Why can't Pascal grow into a similar mold like those players? He can score on one-on-ones near the elbow and in transition, but he does struggle sometimes to create separation with his dribble in the half court that leads to a forced shot or a pass out. Pascal could improve in that area. He needs to have a tighter dribble and be able to create space for himself and his teammates. Can he be a 20-point per game guy that also gets 5 assists a night? Those type of numbers would carry him to his first All-Star game. He took the leap from 7th guy off the bench to somebody who averaged 20 points per game in the finals, so taking another leap to a lead ball handler and shot creator in the half court isn't too out of the realm to me. Now, 3-point shooting is also a weakness for Pascal, but he'd take a bigger leap as a player if he became a better dribble drive player in the half court.
No arguments.
The last player on here is Lonzo Ball. He dealt with another year of injuries, but he showed that he's good at timing passes. He can move the ball in transition, and he's an even better defender than we thought he was from year one.
There we go.
But of course, he has his weaknesses, and we can focus in on a few of them. But I thought, why not start with the basics, and that is making free throws. We can go on about his 3-point shooting off the catch or on pull-ups or his one-on-one shot creation to get to the rim, but the biggest standout weakness to me is free throw shooting. Lonzo does not get to the free throw line often. He only averages about 1 free throw attempt per game.
Wow.
Not only does he get to the free throw line just one time per game, he shot below 50% in both of his 2 seasons. I saw someone say that Lonzo has more songs on Spotify than he does free throws made. Thought that was kind of funny. A center shooting below 50% from the free throw line is bad, but somewhat explainable. A perimeter player shooting below 50% from the free throw line is just plain bad. No excuses. All guards should be at least near league average at making free throws. Fixing the free throw shooting also requires him to work on another weakness, and that's his one-on-one shot creation with the ball. If he's not getting the reps in game at the free throw line, he's not going to be able to improve his percentage in a big way unless he just knocks down that 1 free throw attempt per game. So yeah, Lonzo, get to the rim, make your free throws when you're there so you can stay on the court. You might be asking where are other players like Giannis or Ben Simmons. I could have also put LeBron on here for his free throw shooting. I just wanted to focus in on these 6 players since I haven't talked about Lonzo Ball or Devin Booker much on the channel.
Okay, that is the end of the video right there. Overall, I thought that was a really good list. Like, he definitely brought up main weaknesses for each one of these players. I do think for the most part, you know, it either comes down to just, like, how old they are and needed to, like, mature and continue to grow as players. Or in some cases, too, it's like sometimes players are just who they are. Like, despite Kawhi Leonard not being the most amazing passer out there, it could be a good passer. It's just he doesn't think that's, like, one of his major strengths, so he doesn't focus on it as much. And he still gets the job done, guys. So, yeah, very good video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe to my channel, and peace out, my friends.